Alright, it is time for the news here on truthbroadcastnetwork.com, and we're going to start out the way that we always do, simply by clicking on breaking and catching whatever is the most recent thing going on. And apparently Dabu7 is having a fit trying to kick people off his YouTube channel. Up here, Cyber Alert, Senate Intelligence Committee approves a CISA bill that could broaden NSA powers. You know, we're starting to get, what do you call that? The syndrome where we're beaten down about all this NSA, all this spy and stuff, and it's hard to even care about it now. And I feel bad, honestly. The video is here. You can play it. It's on Truth Broadcast Network. But we're moving on. Man wears KKK hood to public meeting, gets $215,000. Whatever. Michael Savage, SEAL Team 6, was set up and murdered in Afghanistan. No shit, Sherlock. It took Michael Savage till now to figure that out. We Are Change exclusive look inside look at contributionism. Okay, sure. Let's check it out. Contributionism. Something like that. Contributionism. I'm going to back this up just to make sure you can see the intro, because they have a pretty tight intro. I mean, come on, a camera with a laser sight, it don't get any better than that. And we still have this lame logo.
This is Alec Cope of We Are Change, and I'm here with my friend Rafi. You're a shoemaker. Right now you're running a contribution system within your business, and this is a whole new concept. You're basically a revolutionary spearheading this whole movement. Can you describe to me how this system works and how you've implemented it?
Well, yeah, very simple. Customers come in and let's say they want to...
Okay, before we play this, I want to explain, and I'm not saying this is the case or that We Are Change or that these particular individuals are guilty of this, but there is a move toward easing America into its depression. And so you're being told it's great to recycle. You should recycle. It's great to make things from scratch. You should live in an earth ship and have no electricity. You see what I'm saying? Easing you into the depression that's engineered by the New World Order. Does that mean it's a bad thing? No. I'm not saying it means it's a bad thing. I'm saying once all this stuff's happening, you're no longer a first world country. So are you being adapted to becoming a third world citizen? And are we doing it to ourselves? And if we're doing it to ourselves, is somebody else making us do it, or is it just natural? Things to ponder.
Buy an item,
yeah,
and if the retail price of the item is too expensive for the customer, could be reasons, financial reasons. It could be just they have the money but they don't want to invest that sum of money into a certain item. They can decide to pay me as low as my cost, and all my costs are written on each item, so it's open book. I can show you an example if you like.
Yeah, sure.
These bags, which are quite popular. In this case, for example, if you get a shot of this, the regular price is $80 and my cost is $35. So usually what the customer tells me before I get a chance of explaining my new system, they tell me what's the prices here. So So I tell them it's 80 cost and 35 is my. Sorry, it's 35 cost and it's 80. The price is $80. Most of the time they don't exactly understand what I'm talking about, where I'm getting at. So I have many reactions. Sometimes they ask me questions. Sometimes they say, okay, thank you, because they didn't understand what I just said. So they either leave it or they come to the counter and they hesitate. I tell them, is $80 okay for you? Normally they say no, because this is an expensive bag. So they tell me, I explain it again. I tell them it's a budgetary contribution store, and you can give me as low as $35. They usually are shocked from it.
Yeah.
That's the first reaction. And the second reaction, most of the time, they are extremely uncomfortable. So they say, I can't, or they say, why are you doing this? Or they say, how much should I pay? I don't know how much is it worth it for me. So we are so used to not making decisions in our lives. Everything is dictated, everything is fed to us. And we just do whatever the system tells us the way it's supposed to be done. And we are not creative. And so by doing this, I'm giving the gift of exercising our way, a different way of functioning.
Yeah.
So what you see here is a shop owner who either has been conditioned not to take full price for the things he's selling, or he's conditioning others to do the same, or both. So if you're selling something and it's worth $10 and you only paid $5, if somebody says they're going to give you $5.10, you just fucking smile. Welcome to the New World Order. Now, I'm not going to play full videos. We've got a lot of news to scan through. New advanced scientific models say we're fucked. I don't like that guy. He's got a loud mouth. We'll give him a chance, and then we'll cut him off.
It's almost July 4th, Independence Day. Thousands of Americans celebrating our country's independence by taking devices invented by the Chinese, made in Bangladesh, purchased over the border in Mexico, and then using them to blow off their fingers. But the truth is...
All right, now, you heard that laugh right there. That's fake. That's a fake laugh track. That's social engineering. That's mind control. And I don't care how legitimate you think his information is. If he's using a laugh track in order to condition the people into laughing, he's trying to mind control you. And he should be shot in the face. Listen to it again.
Mexico, and then using them to blow off their fingers. But the truth...
No laugh tracks on Truth Broadcast Network. Boom. Done. Moving along. Israel pounds Gaza with airstrikes. Mayhem breaks loose as homes are leveled, and this during the World Cup distraction. Or did they delete the video? It looks to me like that video no longer exists. And we're seeing more and more. You see the title here. A video comes out. Maybe it exists at first. Well, maybe here it is. Maybe.
The Palestinian people are being murdered strategically by Israel right now. These airstrikes being dropped on the Palestinian people. This is not military bases, guys. These are homes. And these are Israeli choppers. You see, the Palestinian people are fighting with rocks and sticks and stones, facing choppers. The only thing that they got protecting them are other groups around, like Hamas. Other groups that the United States would declare a terrorist organization, but all they're doing is trying to save people. People. You see this? That is what is being dropped on the people, and anyone around is getting decimated. I'm going to leave a video clip so you guys can see the mayhem. There's a man stuck right here in between all this, alive, and they're going crazy trying to get him out. People bloody everywhere. Barefoot running through this rubble, trying to save lives. Children stuck in these buildings. And I'm telling you now, I don't care what religion, breed, color you are. No children on this planet deserve to suffer going through airstrikes like this. These people have no means to threaten Israel with the arsenal that Israel has. A couple puny rockets they always claim get fired from Gaza into Israel, and it's their excuse to rain down hell.
Now, for those who don't understand, it's Israel firing off those rockets. Agent provocateurs. Just the same as they've got the black bloc at the protest events or whatever, in order to justify the attack. Just the same as a football player on a football field looks at the referees, sees they're not looking, then hits somebody. And then they elicit the reaction, which is that person retaliating. The retaliation, that takes a while. And guess what? Then the referee's looking.
Same thing happened on the northern border when ISIS launched a rocket into Israel from Syria, and guess what? Israel struck Syria's compounds. Never touched ISIS. Maybe now people will see what's really going on. I say it time and time again. This is worldwide genocide. You watch that video clip, and I'll leave a link, but you're going to see that these people are just getting pounded, and they have been.
Now, there's another aspect of what ISIS is doing, and we may or may not run across a video that goes over this, but it is the destruction of history. The destruction of the history of the world by destroying ancient structures, mosques, statues, carvings, things that prove historically that people knew certain things or thought certain things or believed certain ways. Our history in Mesopotamia, Babylon, it's being erased by this alleged terrorist group that's actually being controlled by the New World Order that wants that ancient history erased because it's evidence against them. They're controlled by the fallen. And there is a clear path of evidence that leads straight from the New World Order to the descent of the fallen angels, and they're trying to get rid of that. They're trying to destroy that evidence. And that's why ISIS is over there destroying. That's one of the major reasons.
Forever. And it's sad when I have Israeli people, Jewish people, real Jewish people from Israel, telling me that what their government is doing is wrong. That they're a whole different regime. Telling me that we are seeing what's taking place. There's a Zionist unit inside of Israel running the show. And I have everyday Jews telling me this.
Okay, so you got the picture on that one. I want to make sure we don't focus too heavily on one thing. The Bahamas Inside Surveillance Paradise Trailer. All right, that's a movie. That's for sheeple. There are going to be some videos on Truth Broadcast Network. And in fact, there's a new category that I just created. It's called bait. You see it right here? Don't bother clicking the category called bait in the archives, which is listed as breaking in the tabs, because that is specifically sheeple video, sheeple information. That category is where all of the videos designed to attract retarded, ignorant people are isolated and hidden. So once we attract a retard, a Fox News viewer or an MSNBC viewer or a football fan, once we attract a retard to the network, they see their one retard video and then they're surrounded. They're encompassed by truth video. So that's what the bait category is. There's no way for me to keep it from showing up. And it doesn't matter if I put it as uncategorized, it'll show up as uncategorized. But there's a method to our madness. So when you see sheeple video, just know that that's what we're doing, is we're trying to attract the sheeple to the network. So, moving along. Border crisis by design. And that's what I've been telling you. This is an engineered situation. A Gaza spokeswoman blasts IDF protective edge on RT. So we've looked at all the breaking information. We'll update it one more time just to see if anything else came in, because they do come in constant. And no. So we're going to go ahead and look at PSYOPs. And this will be from 3 reliable sources on psychological operations. And one says the internet deception is just as bad. One is my broadcast from last night. All opposition to the immigration crisis is fake. Let's take a look at that. I've got it here on screen. I want to look at the write-up. And you can watch the full broadcast is embedded right here. And it's uploaded to YouTube. I just haven't published it yet. I mean, it's a long time consuming process, but by the end of this, the title, not only is the immigration crisis manufactured, so is the opposition. So is the opposition. What is the opposition to the illegal immigration? You have the people that are showing up there to protest, to turn back buses. Those are the useful idiots that are corralled, that are told, as you just heard Cassandra say, by a mayor. They were told where to be, when to be there. Literally told by a politician where to be and when to be there. They're conditioned by the television what to do. That's why you have so much propaganda in the news. So they're basically like programmed robots. That's fake opposition. Even if you think you're legitimate, even if you think you're doing the right thing, even if you think you're a patriot, I'm sorry, you are a useful idiot. Showing up where a politician told you to show up, waving the flag that is nothing but tribalism. Tribalism. You understand? You're no different than a Pittsburgh Steeler fan waving a Pittsburgh Steeler flag in Cleveland, Ohio. Sorry about that. I'm not doing well tonight. Alright, so anyway, moving along with this. By the end of this, you will be left to wonder, is the immigration crisis even real? Protests are staged by controllers via useful idiots who have been incited by choreographed news reports and social media operatives. Alleged militia action is staged via social media and fake articles, and I would challenge you. Well, I guess the article says, can you find video of the militia down there? Everybody listening to me now. Everybody watching this on YouTube. Everybody seeing the restream. You have search engines. You have Google. You have it all. Find a picture of the militia on the border. Find a video of the militia on the border. I've already shown, specifically during this broadcast entitled, well, I don't know what the broadcast is called. Well, yeah, it's down here. Border PSYOP, the beginning of the end. And that's what I'll call it when I upload it to YouTube, or when I post it on YouTube. I showed you how, well, we got it in our thing here. Activism, Chris Davis, there he is. Opening new tab. This is Chris Davis's YouTube channel. Every video Chris Davis uploaded to YouTube, and he is the alleged commander of the militia, will be posted right here on Truth Broadcast Network. So there are stories out there saying that he posted a video to YouTube that was saying he was going to point guns at people. What I'm telling you and what I showed during that broadcast is it never happened. Now, this alleged militia commander has deleted his YouTube channel. This alleged militia commander, his Facebook page is gone right before I was scheduled to bring him on air for an interview. So, what I'm saying is that video never existed. All of the websites that say that existed is fake, and it was designed to garner credibility to the fake militia PSYOP. All opposition to the immigration crisis is fake, including the militias. You understand? And you should have known that when you seen a story that said that California militia is going to join the Texas militia. Right there, you should have known this is bullshit. Can you find a video of the militia down there? What about a single still image of a single militia member on the border? They may snap some shots or take some video after this news hits, but as of this writing, there is nothing. Didn't show up for the interview, deleted the YouTube, deleted the face page, not one photo, not one video, nothing. And so the people that believe the militia's down there and are sharing those stories to some small degree are also useful idiots. And the point of that might be to keep any actual militia from showing up, because this is all a psychological operation being carried out by the New World Order that wants to import the illegal immigrants. Well, how do you keep the American people from stopping the importation of these illegal immigrants? You got to keep the militia from running down there. So you create a fake militia to run down there, or to fake like they're running down there so the real militia doesn't step up. The truth is that the extent to which this psychological operation is being contrived out of whole cloth is startling, and the success of the New World Order's creating and managing it up to now has been impressive. It speaks volumes on how the population has become accustomed to following like herd animals rather than researching anything for themselves. Now, if you are attending protests, as was Cassandra, who we just interviewed, if you're attending the protests and think, well, wait, I'm a real person and this guy's nuts, please consider deeply why you are there. Why are you there? What made you decide to go there? Who has made the choices leading up to that? And who has made decisions about what you have done after arriving? Have you given up your individuality? Are you following what everybody around you is doing like a herd animal? Groups are easier to control than individuals. Anyway, finishing this up, it all began to fall apart just before last night's broadcast when, quote-unquote, Commander Davis's Facebook page and YouTube account were both taken down before his scheduled interview here on Truth Broadcast Network. When contacted on his cell phone in preparation for the interview, not having notified the network ahead of time, he backed out of the interview, quote-unquote, for security reasons. It has been said that he also backed out of an interview with Fox News for the same reason, though that information was only present on the same disinformation sites that were trying to garner him credibility. Thus, it may be concluded that tidbit of disinformation was planted in an attempt to garner credibility to the operative. There was no Fox News interview. There's a lot to the unraveling of this ongoing PSYOP, but it has officially begun, and that with the broadcast embedded on this page. From this starting point, we begin to peel back the onion, and you're expected to play an active role in this, as one person cannot know and contact everyone to make this happen. Now, you see here, this individual, Kelly D. Gordon, this alleged woman, and I say alleged because you don't know who that is. It's a Facebook profile. That's all you know. It's text. It's a picture. Seems to play an active role in at least the Facebook groups involving a militia. And what does she say to me? Just stay home. So we have the broadcast embedded there, and people are encouraged to watch and share. Breaking. All opposition to immigration crisis is fake. You will see that in the right-hand side here on Truth Broadcast Network. We do put out a lot of broadcasts, so you can expect it to scroll down here pretty quick. But looking back at our PSYOPs category, which I believe is the most important one, we also have a crucial article here. And actually, this might be what I broadcast about tomorrow. Zombie apocalypse. It's really going to happen. Now, this is important information. You need to pay attention. And most of you will remember the naked man who was shot dead by cops as he ate another man's face in a zombie-style cannibal attack. Now, this sounds like the stuff of a Hollywood horror movie, but this really happened. And it was horrible. You don't even want to Google that image. It's horrible. I would actually recommend you do not go on Google Images and look for that, because it's just, you won't forget it. Even after being shot, the maniac continued to gnaw at the man's head. Cops fired 6 more shots to bring him down, and that's not even accurate because he was already down. He was laying down as he ate the man's face. But they fired 6 more shots to stop him at a roadside in Miami, Florida. On Saturday, the victim is fighting for life after losing most of his face. Now, they say after losing most of his face. These things are so indescribable that it's hard to get it across without sounding so disgusting. But what they should have said was, the victim is fighting for life after most of his face was eaten. Now, the title of this article is, The Zombie Apocalypse is Really Going to Happen. And it sounds like pretty outlandish, like, come on. Come on, there's not going to be a zombie apocalypse. That's ridiculous, right? Well, you may not think that after you go through this information. The evil New World Order is working on giving everyone the forbidden fruit because it is ruled by Satan. So there are so many people going around saying, who's really in charge of the New World Order? Who's really running the New World Order? It's Satan, folks. Get over it. If you're an atheist, you'll never understand. You'll never get it. It's Satan. They are testing several prototypes on the unknowing public as you read this. And of course, no one has a clue what's going on as the media is feeding cover stories. The forbidden fruit is not a fruit, and it is not sex. It is the opening of the third eye, allowing the passage of unclean spirits or demons through a gateway in the mind. Eve did not, quote-unquote, eat of the forbidden fruit. The proper translation is partake, such that we're not talking about food so much as an unknown substance which may have influenced her in any of the same ways that the drugs of our days affect people. In Genesis 3, 5-7, it says, For God doth know, and then they skipped a little bit, Then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good from evil, and the eyes of both of them opened. And the eyes of both of them opened. Now, if there was only one of them, it would say, and his eye opened, but there's 2. So it's their eyes. We're talking about the third eye. We're talking about the pineal gland. The prototypes being tested are far from perfect, having either too little effect or far too great of an effect, savaging those they intend to possess secretly. Many people sense the evil and resist the possession, while others are overcome by it. Now, I've included in this article a lot of videos. This one is entitled Zombies Are Real, Tests Conducted by Government Proof. Now, if you want to see these things, again, go to Truth Broadcast Network and look on the right-hand side. And it's over here called Zombie Apocalypse. It's really going to happen. Or you can just Google Zombie Apocalypse. It's really going to happen. It should come up. And if it's gone from there, just click on PSYOP. And if you click on PSYOP, just keep scrolling down until you find it. You can see here it says Zombie Kill. So the first video we're not going to look at because it's a pretty long one. But I think this is one of the more important ones. So reading this, it says, in case you've not figured it out, this is what accounts for the zombie attacks or cannibalistic behavior in recent months, and you may expect this to worsen for a time as they continue working towards their goal, but then suddenly it will cease. By my estimate, right now we're having around 500 of these zombie attacks per year in the United States. And that's not the totality of it, because it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's happening in other nations as well, if not all of them. For those who do not want to believe that we're dealing with entities attacking and possessing people, watch as this man desperately resists them. This video we're going to play. And you're going to see this man struggling as if he is fighting or trying to escape unknown entities, things that you can't see. And you'll hear him say, "What the fuck?" several times as he is being attacked. This is someone who suddenly came under demonic attack while he was driving his vehicle. We know there is a part in the Bible where it talks about someone's eyes were then opened and they could see the spiritual realm. That's what happened to this man. His eyes were open, but he wasn't surrounded by angels. He was surrounded by demons.
Stay down, stay down.
Hey, you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt yourself. Stay down. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. We're here with you, okay? It's okay. Stay down. Stay down. You're okay. Just calm down. Take a deep breath.
He's in a seizure or something.
Calm down. You're okay. You're okay. You didn't hurt anyone. Is there anybody else with you?
Now this is the other thing you're going to notice. And we should have known. It's kind of ridiculous to depict zombies in Hollywood like they're so disorganized and, uncoordinated. And some of them are missing eyes or body parts and all this stuff. And yet at the same time show them on their feet walking. That's ridiculous. In real life, when somebody is I don't know what the word for it. If somebody is affected to the point where their balance is that bad and they're missing body parts and they're, whatever, they're evil, they're not going to walk. They're not going to be capable of maintaining balance and staying on 2 feet. And that's what we see over and over and over again with these zombie-like people, these people who are dealing with interdimensional entities.
Yeah.
Here we see his vehicle that he wrecked.
Wow.
Knocked me out.
He did?
Like
You feel like he was gonna hit you?
I think
All right, calm down. Stay down. Stay down, buddy.
Now you can see him bleeding.
I tried to keep him down. I told him to stay down.
He's hurt.
You got a wall, you got ID.
And he takes a defensive posture a lot too. He's under attack.
Yeah. Yeah, I was right behind him and I seen. He just broke the gate and went right through the hole, right in here. He did not. He hit the gas. He was hitting the gas. He did not try to stop at all.
Now, when he says he hit the gas, it might be that what he was seeing, what he was feeling was so horrific, he tried to kill himself. But he didn't die. Sound familiar? The Bible says, and in those days men shall seek death, and they shall not find it.
Без. Stop it? Alright. Alright, I'll stop the video, sir.
It's easy to see something like this and try and dismiss it
Stay down, stay down.
as a drug trip. But that's exactly what they want you to do. It's a cover story. Mark 9, verse 20 says, And they brought him unto him, and when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming. And he asked his father, How long is it ago since this came unto him? And he said, Of a child. And oft times it hath cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us, and help us. Jesus said unto him, If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And straightway the father of the child cried out, and said with tears, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, Thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him, and enter into him no more. And the spirit cried and rent him sore, and came out of him. And he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, He is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. Now I want you to think about the logical consistency here. It says, Thou dumb and deaf spirit. Hold on. Sorry, not doing too good tonight with the epilepsy, but thou dumb and deaf spirit. A demon cannot hear, and it cannot see. Until it possesses a host. And once it takes possession of a body, it gains that sensory input. And some people say, why would a demon possess someone? That in and of itself is reason, because a demon can't truly live unless it is in a body and can experience the world. But we're going to move on here. A former bath salt addict says, quote unquote, it felt so evil. Some of these people, as I say above in the article, they resist that evil that comes over them. And that's what you saw this person doing, resisting the evil, trying to fight off that demonic presence. And some people succumb to it. This individual, he succumbed to the evil. He became possessed. Okay, whenever it's ready to play.
This really is his brain on drugs. You remember that old commercial? That's Freddie Sharp, and he has to be tightly restrained by paramedics because he is high on bath salts. As a matter of fact, he was ODing there. Freddie's story is one of thousands about...
So you see how the media wants to discount this as bath salts.
People chasing that next time. In the last week alone, a couple of cannibalism and self-mutilation cases could be linked to bath salts. Freddie's story is not unique as a former user. It's unique because he is a survivor. How do you describe your experience? Because we see the video of you, and it looks like you're having these wild hallucinations, and you're mumbling and talking out of your head. What was going on in that video? What was happening to you?
It was a very scary thing, actually. Whenever all that was going on, that was my overdose and everything. And whenever that was going on, I never experienced anything like that, doing the bath salt or anything like that before. And it really actually scared me pretty bad because I was hallucinating about being in a mental institution, an insane asylum, basically, and something about Jason Voorhees and getting possessed by him, and I felt all kinds of crazy.
I want you to tell people what was going on in your body, in your mind, in your head as we look at this video. What was happening to you?
Fear, darkness, it felt like impending doom was coming down on me, and like that I was possessed and I couldn't try to stop whatever was in me.
Now, you heard what he just said there. He said, and I quote, "I was possessed, and I could not stop what was in me." Who is anyone else to tell him that he was not possessed? He experienced it. People have got to come to grips with what we're dealing with here.
From continuing further, and it felt like I was about to bust loose and actually hurt somebody. That's why that I was wrapped up the way that I was wrapped up, in the fetal position, and trying to keep my hands behind me and everything, because I felt like something was going to happen. I was going to bust loose, and it was going to be a really bad situation. And I never felt something like that before, some fear like that. And it was one of the most horrible experiences of my life. I don't know why that I did it. It happened, it's behind me now, and I'm trying to move on from it and everything.
You described this as, you said, was it like hell on the inside or the devil? How did you describe it?
It felt so evil. It felt like the most darkest, evilest thing.
So here we see him laying on the ground in a fetal position, desperately trying not to attack people. Almost like you see a werewolf movie where the werewolf is chained up because they know he's going to turn and have a bloodlust. That's what the man is saying. He was trying not to, quote unquote, bust out. And you can see how heavily he's breathing.
It felt so evil. It felt like the most darkest, evilest thing that is imaginable. I mean, I was going through something so severe, and it be so dark and scary and everything. It was unimaginable to me, and that's why that I couldn't fully put my head around it. And
Okay, that's enough of that one. If you want to see more, you can go to Truth Broadcast Network and find this write-up. So going on, it says, it will stop because they will have successfully created a substance that opens the portal without ravaging the mind and the body of the victim, and many will be inhabited believing that they are enlightened. Sound familiar? The New World Order will want many subjected to these entities, and so will clean up substances which make the process more difficult. You can expect to see the drug importation virtually cease. Now, I don't want to point any fingers here, but there is the notion that a lot of Muslims are demonic. And another thing you will notice about Islam is that 100% forbidden to smoke, to drink, to do drugs. Moving along. Here we have a video of a cannibal attack on a subway in China. I'm not going to go through all these. There's not going to be time. But let's take a look at this one.
Right now, new at 11 for you, new information on that horrific attack by the MacArthur Causeway. Police were forced to open fire on a naked man who refused to stop chewing the face off of another man. We look into what could have caused this attack, and we have new details on just how much of the victim's face was literally bitten off. CBS 4's Tiffany Hellberg spoke to a police officer who was at the crime scene. She joins us live from Miami. And Tiffany, the officer believes the man clearly was on some very, very powerful drugs.
That's right, Cynthia. The Fraternal Order of Police president tells me this crop of LSD is a major threat to police officers as well as the rest of us. He says it turns normal people into monsters that possess this superhuman strength and no ability to feel pain. He believes that's what was behind the incident that unfolded here Saturday in broad daylight just off the MacArthur Causeway exit right next to the Miami Herald. And it was the Herald's surveillance video that caught much of it on tape. Now, we want to warn you, much of the details you're about to hear are disturbing and gruesome.
It totally horrified me. This was probably in my 30 years as a police officer, the nastiest, most horrific incident I've ever seen.
An incident partially caught on camera by Miami Herald surveillance. Fraternal Order of Police President Armando Aguilar says that cop had no choice but to shoot when he found a naked man chewing away at another man's face.
Had his face completely eaten from the top of his forehead to almost his jaw. It wasn't just that he was being bit, it's that the person was actually swallowing pieces of his face.
His cannibalistic attacker unfazed by the officer's commands to stop.
With the police.
Now think about this. We had a story not long ago, a couple years back, about a woman who had a monkey. And the monkey attacked her friend and started doing a zombie attack on her friend that was visiting and ripped her face off. How much you want to bet that monkey was on bath salts? And again, we're not talking about bath salts. We're talking about a spiritual aspect here. But there appears to be something, at least some of the time, in these things that allows these spirits through, that opens up that gateway.
Bit is that the person was actually swallowing pieces of his face.
His cannibalistic attacker unfazed by the officer's commands to stop.
When the police approached him, he turned around and growled and kept attacking the victim on the floor.
And we see that time and time again. People literally growling. You saw that one man flopping around on the pavement in the one video. He was growling. You know, I've had dogs and I've had wolves, and one of the differences between them is the sounds that they make. A dog will growl like, but a wolf, it's more like a roar, like a big exhale, this kind of thing. And that's what we're seeing, the difference. These people are sounding like wolves. They are making wolf, animalistic sounds. That's one of the aspects we see over and over in these zombie attacks.
That's when he says the officer shot him.
The initial shots had no effect. He had to repeatedly shoot him about 4 times until the man collapsed.
The naked attacker.
All right, that's enough of that one. I can't play all of these. So one of these on here is an entire playlist, but I want to make sure we get the text out. May we as people begin to recognize the spiritual nature of this battle. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That from Ephesians 6:12. High places, despite what your church will tell you, does not mean heaven. Heaven is the highest place, and the Bible does talk about highest place. That's heaven. And you will have atheists say, well, high places, that means the top of a mountain. But the true meaning of high places is the kings of the earth, the rulers, the government. We battle against spiritual wickedness in government. This spiritual wickedness is among us now more and more each day. And then we have information about specific demonic entities that I'm going to gloss over for now. So combine all of that information with crocodile, or maybe it's pronounced crocodile, the symptoms of which you'll see in the video below, and it becomes clearer why your alleged government has been training to slaughter zombies. Now, I've got to warn you at this point. And you can see in this video that this woman's arm, well, it's not all there. That's a bone. But that's the least of how bad this video is. I'm going to play this for a minute. Not even a minute. I don't even want to see it for a second. But I'm going to play this very briefly. If you have children, don't let them watch it. I don't know why everything's running so slow. That's a real living person that looks exactly like a zombie. Now this is due to the use of a drug called crocodile. And this drug, I'm just going to take it off of that. I can't stand to see that. This drug is common in extremely poor areas. And that video will show you what it's made of, what's in it, and so on, but it also explains how the drug is primarily used where there is economic collapse. That drug has now made it to America. And people with these effects of crocodile have now been found in, of all places, Ohio. I will leave you with this prophecy, which foretold of these events years ago, and note that the rotting of the flesh and people attacking one another are to happen during the same time period. I very much regret to inform you that the zombie apocalypse is going to be very real. Zechariah chapter 14. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all of the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Now don't let that line throw you off. You don't know whether they're talking about the Jews or the Muslims. Jerusalem is majority Muslim now. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. Isn't that what we're seeing in this picture here? Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. In the past, everyone thought this was talking about a nuclear warhead, a nuclear bomb. An instant, boom, your flesh just rotted away and you died instantly. Now we see that's not the case. We're not talking about an instant melting away of the flesh. We're talking about exactly what you see in this picture. We're talking about crocodile. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes. Folks, this biblical prophecy is being fulfilled before your eyes. You're looking at a video of someone whose eye consumed away in the hole. You're looking at it on screen right now. This is happening now. And it's already shown up in Ohio. This was largely a Russian problem when their economy collapsed. Remember a couple years ago, Russian economy collapsed. We beat them in the Cold War. And then this kind of thing started happening over there because people couldn't afford whatever else it is people do, cocaine, heroin, whatever, and they started making they found a way to make some super cheap drug. After the economic collapse, they found a way to make a super cheap drug, and it has to do with mixing gasoline and things like that with heroin or whatever it is, cocaine, in order to make it go around more. But the results are what you're seeing on the screen. The results are your flesh rotting away. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. That's crocodile. And it shall come to pass in that day, in other words, at the same time, that a great tumult from the Lord. Now, I've looked this up. Tumult means a great confusion. From the Lord shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor. And his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. In other words, at the same time that the flesh is rotting away on them, while they stand upon their feet, people will begin to attack one another. Not only is the zombie apocalypse real, it's in the Bible. Zechariah chapter 14, verses 12 and 13. And not only is it real and in the Bible, it's already begun. both the rotting of the flesh and people attacking one another. It's already begun. You know, it's depicted in Hollywood as something that just all of a sudden pops out of nowhere, but that's not what's happening. It's a slow, gradual thing. And it's already begun. This article has not gotten around much. And I know most of you will be too busy to come to the network and find it. This is some of the most important information on the face of the earth. This is some of the most important information that people need to know. And you're going to have people out there, even alleged truth activists, that talk about the zombie apocalypse. And they're going to put out a lot of disinformation about it because they don't want you to realize what I'm telling you here. They don't want you to put bath salts and crocodile together. They don't want you to read Zechariah chapter 14. They don't want you to understand what's happening, what's going to happen. The zombie apocalypse. It's really going to happen. Now, we're done with that. I want to, while we're doing all this, have a little bit of a focus on Howard Nema. So let's go under broadcasts on Truth Broadcast Network. Howard works so hard and so selflessly. And let's check out the posts from Truth Talk News. And Howard's broadcast will show up on the right-hand side here under recent network broadcasts. This is where the broadcasts are going to go. Or if I have something extremely important like that one, I might throw it in there time to time. So here we are. Well, no, that's the PSYOP page. Truth Talk News is over here. Here we are under category Truth Talk News. The crumbling of our republic. The ritual sacrifice of Lena Morgana. Howard does a good job giving people the big picture, citing the history, citing the people, citing the sources. If you want to recommend a broadcaster, if you want to recommend videos to someone who A, is new and isn't ready for the deep, deep stuff. Because if you start talking to somebody about the zombie apocalypse that's not even awake, you're just going to discredit yourself. A lot of people just aren't ready for that. Howard Nema is the source you want to give them. Howard Nema will open their eyes, make them understand that there is something evil afoot. The war on American exceptionalism. I don't know what happened to those ones. They just vanished, I guess, but we can always go to page 2. Howard Nema has been all over the Mark Bowles situation, and for those who don't know, well, let's just say healthcare is no longer optional. Mark Bowles is a veteran, and he tried to leave the hospital. And so they nearly killed him. He said, I don't want medical treatment. It's just not going to be an option in the future. I've told you from day one, it's death care. It's not health care. It's not to help you. It's death care. And it's created and designed to kill you. And that's exactly what it's going to do. Not today. Not tomorrow. They're killing somebody else today and tomorrow. But they'll get to you in time. Make no mistake about it. Asset forfeiture breeds police state culture. Oh, and by the way, just off topic, the 2016 Republican National Convention is going to be held in Cleveland, Ohio. I will be there. I have no idea what I'll be doing, but I'll be there. If anybody has any ideas of what I should do, throw them my way. Howard Nema is the person you want to recommend for newly awakening people, or even people who are not awakening at all, and they need that nudge, they need that push, because he'll focus in on a specific event or a specific person and show what's happening to them, and then show why it's happening and lead people into the bigger picture. We are proud to have Howard Nema here on Truth Broadcast Network, and if you are recommending somebody's broadcasts or videos to a newly awakening person, I would tell you don't give them mine. Now let's click on breaking again and see if anything just suddenly happened that we can check out. And yes, a couple things here. Moscow accuses the United States of kidnapping Russian MP's son. Is that propaganda? Is that PSYOP? Authorities in Moscow are outraged over the arrest of a Russian MP's son by the U.S. detained in the Maldives and then transported to a military base in Guam. The 30-year-old man is accused by law enforcement of cyber whatever. Maybe that's cyber stalking. Who cares? It may or may not even be true. It's being reported by RT, which should be now considered to be mainstream media. And so, just like the American citizen allegedly being held in Mexico, possibly as an excuse for creating a DMZ between the U.S. and Mexico, there's a good chance it's nothing but propaganda and should not be talked about too much. Iraq tells the United Nations that ISIS completely seized former chemical weapons depot. Now, in case you haven't figured it out yet, ISIS is controlled by the New World Order. Terrorist groups don't have brand new clothing, brand new flags. They don't go around, being invulnerable. It's hilarious, really. It's a New World Order army saying, well, let's just dress as terrorists and then we can get away with it. And that's exactly what they're doing. All right, so we're done with that. Clicking on PSYOPs. Let's refresh PSYOPs. You never know. Maybe something brand new came out on that. It does happen. Nope. And so going down, border invasion. Is it an army? Colorado girl framed by FBI as wanting to join ISIS is something that I think people might want to look into a little bit. Colorado girl arrested as terrorist by the FBI. This kind of thing is almost always entrapment, and we know the Colorado girl was speaking with FBI agents rather than any actual terrorists. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up this news broadcast.